Mount Vernon. This is the March 19th. This is the March 19th meeting of the Charter Review Commission. We're going to start with taking attendance. Kareem Bell,
Present.
Rosa Blackwell Lawrence,
Present.
Brian Dwyer,
Here.
Anitra Hadley, Mary.
Present.
Oh, sure.
Just keep on.
Okay.
Oh,
Mary Kingsley,
Yes.
Susan Lawley,
Here.
Eileen Lambert, Dolores Lope, Aaron McGarry, Geeta Morris,
Here.
Kevin Morrison,
Here.
Haley Pilgrim, David Rogers,
Here.
Monica Whiting Hogan.
Present.
For the advisory board, Raquel Bennett, Axel Eberman, Vince Ferrandino, Michael Justino,
Here on Zoom.
Gabriel Thompson, Stephen Vasquez, Donna Wimple, Marinike Williams. And then we have a guest, Cassandra Hyacinth, a member of the public. Okay. First, let me say thank you to Mary Kingsley for making us these lovely name tags. So I'm going to put it like this so folks can see who we are. And then Kareen, you want to do the agenda? All right, do you have a copy of the agenda?
This one time, the agenda.
I have. Yes, look. Monica.
Oh. I got it. Okay. I'll read this into the record. So the media agenda for me on March 19, 2025. 1, call to order. 2, roll call. 3, code of conduct. 4 is the outreach plan. 5 is any new business. 6 is any old business. And 7 is our adjournment.
Okay, thank you. I actually do want to start by saying we posted this online, but today we were going to do a vote. We are not going to do the vote today. And the reason for that is after having a really long conversation with our consultants, the National Civic League, and discussing going into the next phase of our work, which really is outreach to the public forums. We really want to go into that with the public feeling like what they say matters. And it was always going to matter, but it's just an easier message if we haven't done any kind of voting, preliminary or otherwise. And so we want to focus on that instead of focusing on the results of any kind of voting. So that's why we're not going to vote today. The vote is going to happen at our first meeting in June. And there are a series of things that are going to happen before that. So I'm actually going to switch the order of our meeting today to do the outreach plan first, since we're already talking about this. So what's going to happen next is, we did the opening survey. We're going to post online the survey report. Nicole is going to help us post that on the city websites. I saw your email. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to answer.
That's okay. It is on the calendar invite for tonight. The link is there.
Okay, so the link to the results of the survey is on the calendar invite for tonight.
Yes, on the city website.
Okay, and we will also be posting it on, Stephen's not here, on our social media, the Review Commission social media. So that is available to the public. It's open. The survey is closed. But you can see what the results were. The first thing that the NCL is going to do is design the second survey, the follow-up survey. It's probably going to be the final survey unless something, unusual comes out of the second one. So the plan for that is late March, early April. they'll produce the new community survey based on some of the questions that were in the old survey, right? Like the point of the sort of continual surveys is to see how people's attitude maybe change over time. So that's late March, early April. Obviously, they'll continue to provide, research and guidance to us on charter issues, any reports that we need, helping with the drafting of the report. You guys all now have, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the Purple Team Subcommittee report. I'm expecting from the Blue Team, I know that those aren't going to be reduced to ballot initiatives, maybe. I mean, we'll talk about this a little more later, but you guys still should do your reports, your issue analysis reports, because those need to go into the final report that we give to council and that we publish to the public. And then NCL is going to design what they call the community forums, right? So this is the basis of the outreach. We're going to do 4 of them, 2 in April and 2 in May. NCL is going to design them and they are going to handle them. They're going to fly in for the 4 of them. They will probably, they're big on food. They really want to build food into the budget. They said people come out for food. So they're going to do that. They're going to arrange the space, for maximum input and output. And then at the end of that process, we're going to get from them a final analysis and write-up, which they're going to present to us via Zoom or Teams, whatever. And that will include a summary of the survey results, the input received at the forum, the research on charter issues, and any other data that they think we need. And all of that will be packaged so that we can best consider that when we do vote. And so the vote will come shortly after that. That's scheduled for early June. I have had conversations with the Board of Education about potentially using some of their space. And I'm curious what you all think. I also spoke to a few community leaders about where they thought, the best spaces were for the different parts of town. And I was thinking 2 at the Dole Center, 1 at STEAM Academy, which is where one of the comprehensive plan meetings were. And they actually have a great space there that I think would work for the type of thing the NCL wants to do. And then maybe 1 at Pennington. 2, I said at the Dole Center, because the message to me was that if you're on the south side, almost no matter where you are, you can get to the Dole Center. I think there's some area over on McQuestion where it might be a little tough, but I'm told that folks are used to going there. They know where it is. And since the south side is so densely populated, that's why I thought 2 there. Any thoughts at all on that?
I think Dole Center is a great choice for South Side.
I agree.
You have a who has
No,
Question?
there's a question in the chat.
Rosa? I can't see that.
One in the chat.
The venues for outreach been determined?
That's what we were just talking about. Is that Rosa?
Might be in
That was
agreement.
Michael who asked the question, so.
Okay, Rosa, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Am I-
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I want to find out, so, with, NCL coming in, you said they're flying in and we built into the budget. So so who's paying for this? We are paying, there's,
Yes, we are paying for that. We have a budget for that.
how many times are they flying in? 4 times?
No, 2 times.
2 times.
So they're it's probably gonna be Saturday, like afternoon, and then a Sunday after church.
Okay. All right.
That
And so just in terms of with the survey, the next survey that's gonna come out, is there gonna be anything? Because one of the things I noticed with this last survey is that you could go in and do it more than once. And, I mean, you could do it several times. Is there gonna be something built in where it prevents, um, a person doing a survey 3 or 4 times? Because I'm just thinking that, because that might skew like the results, particularly I saw, in terms of the information that was shared with us that in one particular area code that seems to be a whole lot more in that area code than zip code, excuse me, than the other zip code.
Yeah, so
It's not-
no, yeah,
Like, going to be some kind of way to, um, I don't know, prevent people from taking a survey more than once.
right. So we did ask that question before. There really isn't. They can do some crunching in the end, looking at things like IP addresses to make sure that didn't happen. They don't think that that happened. The message really was that the people who answered and the people who generally answer and pay more attention to surveys like that are homeowners. And I think what we saw in this survey was sort of that, like if you look at who the people were, it was heavily, people in single family homes. That does not seem to be unusual. And even with trying to push it really hard on the South Side, only a few people, or not a few people, people took it, but definitely not in the same numbers as people on the North Side. The NCL didn't think that that was because people were taking it multiple times. In fact, a lot of people took it and didn't finish it. Like they got to the demographics part and said, thanks, like they just answered the question. So it did not seem to be a thing that people wanted to take 3 and 4 times, right? And the results were not so skewed when you look at who did take it, that they thought it was unusual. But we did ask that question and they didn't think it was a good idea to try and like lock it down. It would be way too complex. And I mean, we're talking about like 450 people, I think, where we ended up who took it. So,
Having run,
but hang on,
Mary.
having run.
wait, like raise hand, we should be, and David was gonna say something.
Yes. One of the things I think we need to look at or have NCL look at is being able to bypass the demographic section. Because you can't get to the next section of the survey without completing the previous section.
Demographics is at the end. That's what they didn't complete.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought it was one more question before the, okay.
At the end, Mary?
Having run several police reform surveys for the city, did independently. 460 is the number of people that responded each time. I mean, thereabouts. So that seems to be a pretty typical response to outreach, unfortunately.
Okay. And like you said, that it was such an extensive survey. I just can't see people wanting to do it multiple times because I almost didn't finish it because I was like, oh, wait a minute, let me go back. I'm honest. So, because I was like, okay, question after question, and you really want to get into the details so that way it's paid attention to and looked upon, then you took your time. And so after taking your time to do that, I just can't see people wanting to go back and do it multiple times.
Yeah, and like I said, NCL didn't think that that was really an issue here. So I'm not super concerned about that. Anyone else?
I'm not sure how to raise my hand. Oh, wait. Okay,
Who's that?
this is Anitra.
Oh, I can't. see.
You're
Okay.
not on screen anymore.
Oh, there
she
she
is.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Will we have an opportunity to review, my first question, will we have an opportunity to review and give feedback on this survey as like we did with the other one? And then my second question is, are we going to be specific with what we asked related to our ballot initiatives in this survey?
So yes, we will have the same opportunity to review and comment. And I believe, why don't we see what they produce? They have the report, they know what the, at least the main 3 initiatives are. I'm waiting for their view on whether or not they think, given the initial survey, it is a good idea to be super specific about those, especially before we do the community forums. But yes, we will have the same opportunity to comment. They're working on the survey, or we'll start working on the survey soon. So before it gets posted, it'll be the same thing. Brian?
Just on your point with the survey, if we do get results that for some reason we're suspect that, maybe they're skewed, maybe someone submitted multiple times, as you said, Chairman, that NCL can run a report and see that, okay, we got 1,000 submissions from this one address, and we get an indication that something was amiss.
Okay, next. I switched, so I think it's code.
Yeah, code of conduct.
So number 3, code of conduct, that
Yep.
would be you, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, so with respect to the code of conduct, the first thing we need to determine is if we have a quorum in the room. So all commission members, please raise your hand. We can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That was one of the reasons I
13.
made the name tags too, only for the commission members.
13. Okay, so, Madam Secretary, if you can record that we have 13 members in the room. And therefore, members online, please raise your hand.
I thought you counted me. I raised my hand.
Oh, okay.
But when you
All
said
right.
members,
And two members online. All right, so therefore, now that we've established that we have a quorum. One of the things that we've encountered in the past, as all of you know, is particularly when we're talking about sensitive topics, or if we're just have commentary around different issues, sometimes it can get heated. Really?
Here, I'm in the whole room.
Exactly. Really. So first and foremost, we're governed in terms of our meeting by Robert's rules. So everyone understands that. And we drafted a code of conduct back last May that was circulated around for everyone to see. It was sent out again in August, specifically August 27th, and then again on September 2nd. And we've had 13 of our 15 members sign off on a code of conduct. But in order to make it official, we have to vote on it. So I move that we adopt the code of conduct as our operating policy.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion?
Well, I wish I'd known. There was something in there that I wasn't, fond of, and now I have to find it. But it was about, and maybe you can help me with where it is, about, conversation about the issues with persons who are not part of the commission. And I had a little difficulty sometimes with trying to talk about and engage people into coming in. And wonder, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yes. So that's not an issue. We absolutely understand that, all the members, right? In terms of if we're doing our outreach, particularly as we approach this
Yes.
period of outreach, that we will talk about, talk to community about our work and what we're doing. Once again, all of our meetings are open to the public. They're available on our website to see. So that's not an issue. The real issue is if we're talking about things that we haven't said we were going to release to the public. And we're never going to do that in a public meeting. So anything talked about in a public meeting is public. But let's say if we have, like we've had a number of times, if we have an online meeting and certain things are discussed there, those things aren't open to be discussed in the public until we discuss them in an official meeting, because those aren't official meetings. Follow me?
I do understand that. I just don't know that I know what was discussed in the online meeting and I mean, so if I talk about the chart, look, I don't want to break the code of conduct accidentally. So, but people that are interested in what's going on in government, and there's not a huge number of those here, do sometimes ask me things about the charter and how things are working and what all we're looking at. And, you know, I'm always like afraid, what am I supposed to say? But I think I'm okay because I just say what we've talked about here. I don't,
Right.
I've been in any private meeting, if you will.
Right. No, I mean, if you talk about what we're doing here, then that's perfectly fine. As an example, we've had one survey go out and we'll have another until survey results are actually released. And where we get them back and we release them here in the public forum, even though, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that's an example of something that if we haven't released those results to the public,
Right, okay, that is.
but we release them to committee members, that shouldn't be discussed in the public.
And so when, for example, using that as an example, just a question, would then that exclude advisory committee members from getting that? Because technically they're the public.
Well, advisory members have also signed the code of conduct. So they're bound by the same code of conduct, not just the members.
Was that enforced? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, hold on.
That's a two-part.
Yeah, I'm just saying she had her hand.
I just.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
So just tell me.
Okay, that's fine.
Good?
Yes.
Okay. So the Charter Commission and Advisory are held to this, but I think we just called for the Charter Commission, not the advisory
In terms of the vote, yes.
in terms of the vote,
Right.
but everybody is held to it. What's the difference in signing it and a motion now? Like if 13 signed,
Mhm.
but did advisory also sign when we say 13 signed?
No, those are in addition to the. I'm
They
talking
did
about
sign,
members.
but he's not
right,
counting.
I'm
No,
not
no,
counting.
just a point, no, so just a point of clarity. We gave a number that 13 out of 15 signed.
Yeah.
But if we're saying advisory is included, where's the number of who in advisory also signed? So technically, we should say there's 15.
Well, they
char-
can't vote. That's why I'm not giving them. This is about the vote.
No, talking about the number you said signed.
She's asking a different question. 13 of the 15 commission members signed.
Signed, yes.
Correct. And the second question is, so advisory also signed?
Yeah.
All of the advisors.
So we are voting now to hold the advisory and the commission to the code.
Yes, but mainly the commission.
So we're saying two different things then. So if the,
Well, I'm saying mainly the commission members, because the commission members are the only one can vote. So what the commission does bind the advisory board.
the motion was about holding the commission to it. So I just want to make sure the motion matches.
No, the motion was just to approve the code of conduct. I didn't make it specific to the commission members or advisory board members.
Gotcha. So signing the we need a motion if we signed it, signing it is not enough. We need a motion to do what? If
Okay.
shouldn't signing it be in,
Signing it should have been enough.
so what
Right.
does the motion do different than the signing? it?
So this is the thing. Technically, we never moved to adopt it.
Right, the issue was that we should have had formal.
Okay, that's
So,
just
yes,
clarity.
right, technically, we never moved to adopt it. Now, we could have said by unanimous consent, it's approved, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure we had a motion on the record that said we're adopting.
So right now, the signatures don't mean anything until we adopt it.
Effectively, yes.
And we are adopting the signed ones from.
No, we're just
Just
adopting
adopting
the
it.
code of conduct. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Oh, my
Correct.
question was in regards to the examples that you were providing about what would be considered to be private conversation. So I'm assuming that anything that has taken place in any of our executive sessions that were not public meetings, those things are not to be shared
Correct.
with members who are not inside the room or within the Zoom. Okay, I just wanted
Yes.
to be clear about that.
All right. I don't know who was next, Rosa or Anitra?
Anitra had her hand up before me.
Okay, Anitra?
Thank you. So I just wanted to make clear, so has this, because we are a public board and we're subject to, we are also fiduciary, the city has fiduciary responsibility in terms of our indemnification, where we're covered by that. Has this code of conduct been reviewed by Corporation Counsel?
Yes,
Okay, and there was no issues with it.
and that came back to me.
Okay, my second question
Wait, corporate
is,
counsel saying he doesn't recall.
I mean, it was sent to me, but I wasn't viewing it for an eye and giving no legal opinion. So.
Right. Your comment back was that we could establish our own policies. And that was it. That was your comment back.
But Anitra, what was your question again?
so, for instance, what I guess what I'm trying to say is, if someone on the commission is sued, if I have this correct, the city with the city resources has to defend has to defend the charter commission because we're a public body. So my concern with putting this in is, without having it been reviewed by Corporation Counsel, is that it could potentially hold us open to additional liability if we have not had this reviewed by Corporation Counsel. If he's reviewed it and he says it's fine and there's no issues, that's another thing. But if he's saying he doesn't recall reviewing, or he doesn't recall being asked specifically to review it with that lens, then I think we should have him review it with that lens.
Okay, one has,
Hang on.
I don't think that this issue was the.
We can't hear him. Can you
He
come?
said he doesn't think there's any issue with the code of conduct.
I mean, I did read it, but I read it, nothing jumped out at me as problematic, so.
Could you
Thank
put your-
and the city's indemnity obligations to its officials, commissions, et cetera, has absolutely nothing to do with the code of conduct.
Well, for instance, so it does back related to Eileen's comment. So this code of conduct, should someone break the code of conduct, are we voting to then be able to, as the commission, tell that person or excuse that person from serving on the commission, even though they were appointed by the mayor or the city council? Is that what we're aiming to do? Or what is the purpose of this?
So the purpose of it is so that when we have meetings and we have heated discussions, we have a policy in place that we're supposed to follow and everyone's aware of it. So in addition, as I indicated in the beginning, to Robert rules governing how our meetings go, the code of conduct is just some additional benchmarks around not only how we conduct meetings, but how we conduct ourselves in the public. Now, the remedy is actually the last item in the code of conduct. And it basically says, if the code of conduct is violated, it's up to the members to decide what, quote unquote, punishment is, if you want to use that word, but
So is this to care for heated discussions or sharing information outside of? the
It's-
meeting? 'Cause we have heated
it's-
discussions all
it's-
the time.
right. And we're trying to not have those.
So this is not about sharing outside.
It is.
It's a-
It's
not saying
about,
the-
it's about both. There are two things, okay? One, it's about, once again, when we're conducting meetings, things like raising your hand, waiting to be acknowledged instead of just talking out of turn. It's about, so that we're supposed to be governed in terms of meetings by Robert's rules, right? Layered on top of that, the code of conduct, which talks about sharing information with the public when we're not supposed to, and conducting ourselves in a professional manner. So the two of them are what we will use to conduct ourselves. Rosa?
Yeah, so, all right, so for one, in terms of the advisory, so they sign the code of conduct, but they're not held to it, I guess.
No, they are. So this is the thing. Let me try to say this one more time. Only the members have the right to vote,
Right,
right? Just like the members have a right to vote on the initiatives. Although we have advisory members that participated in this process, have done equal, if not more, in some cases, work on what we produce, but they don't have an official vote. So, because only the members have a vote, it's been signed by not only the members, but by advisory board members. Whatever we vote is binding on all of us. Same way as if we voted on initiative, it would be binding, that would be supported by the advisory board as well.
All right, can you repeat the motion again, please?
The motion was to adopt the code of conduct.
Just to adopt a code of conduct.
Right.
And
Officially, it was I move to adopt code of conduct.
okay. And then the other part of this is, so the part about if someone violates, then it's decided by the members on the commission what that, I don't know, what the outcome, the
Right,
punishment.
remedy, outcome,
So that,
consequence, accountability, etc.
so that oversteps, all of us being signed in on, by, or appointed by the mayor or whatever.
No, it doesn't. You still have to, let's take it as an example. If someone does something that the commission deems so egregious that the majority of commission members says this person should be removed, we'll take that evidence to whether it's the mayor or the city council, present it and see what happens.
So
We
they-
can't remove any.
So we're not, I just want to be clear, because that's not how you stated it. That's why I just wanted to.
I never stated
Okay. Well, all right, but I'm.
that we were going to remove members or we had the power to remove members. The only thing I said was the last statement in the code of conduct talks about how we deal with members that violate it. And it basically says that it's a majority vote of the members on how we would deal with that. I didn't say we had the power to remove or not.
Does it say that we don't have the power to remove?
It doesn't say anything about power to remove or not power to remove. If you refer to your email of August 27th or September 7th, the code of conduct is there if you want to reread it. Mary,
Oh, I was.
sorry.
No, I was just gonna read the part, the part that talks about
Yeah.
violations of the code of conduct, so that we just have it here, we all hear it at one time.
Can we read the whole?
Just a refresher, and it is item number 6, and it says violations of code of conduct. Any conduct violative of this code of conduct will subject the member action by the full commission. So it doesn't say remove, it's just that the full
Right.
commission
We have.
is by the full, that will, I guess, as a full commission, will determine what that action is. It doesn't say anything about removal, so that is it in whole.
Yeah.
Yes, Mary.
So, I didn't realize that we were gonna go over this again, and I didn't review it again. But I still, a couple of observations, and I know I've mentioned briefly to Haley that she wrote an article in Black Westchester. I don't know if you see it. Brilliant.
Oh, okay, Mary.
So it said,
No, I'm
we
just saying,
will express ourselves.
no, I'm just saying, just,
And I am setting the stage for what I wish to say.
okay.
And it may not be your way, but it doesn't make it incorrect. So,
Saying it's
and that is part of my issue with this,
okay.
is that I think a lot of the statements are very subjective, number one. Number two, it doesn't say anything about Robert's Rules of Order.
It doesn't have, once again, it wasn't intended to
I
be
finish.
Roberts, yes.
And I think that, this is very difficult time in our nation, right?
Mhm.
In general. So we are seeing banding together of ideologues. We are seeing accusations that are not necessarily supported by the other side that is being accused and vice versa. People are seeing things very differently. So we kind of feel that some of this is a bit amorphous now that we're revisiting it. I mean, I signed it initially, but now that you're asking me to say, yeah, I think we need to look at that, especially when I don't know if you can help with some of the verbiage that you used in your article about how people interact now, as opposed to how they interacted when I was Ruby's age. Quite different. What is appropriate and what isn't. So, you know, high-tempered conversations are passionate people, and I don't find that terribly upsetting. So, you know, maybe, but who's right?
Okay, Green?
I don't think it's a challenge of who's wrong or right, because I'm just looking through this briefly. It doesn't talk about anyone's temperament. It's actually things that I think as grown adults in the room, we should like be able to move forward. It's talking about impartiality. It's talking about efficiency. And with some of the heated conversations or just the rabbit hole that we have gone down as a commission, we could agree that we have not always operated as efficiently as we possibly can with our city resources. We're talking about confidentiality so that we're not spreading a message of some or not the whole body. We're also talking about stewardship of city resources, preventing a financial conflict, integrity. And then the other conflicts of interest, avoiding conflicts of interest, failing to disclose any interest. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but
Right.
we're kind of getting an idea. So there isn't any there isn't any mention of heated conversations or things that are subjective about someone's personality or anything else like that. I talk with my hands a lot. People might find that angry.
Right.
I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that I think we can use this as, again, I love to use the word guardrails, as just a place that we can play in the sandbox nicely with each other. We are not all going to agree with each other. Period. We have seen it. But how can we move forward as a commission so that we are efficient? We all have things to do at home, from loved ones, sick parents, dogs, cats, jobs. Let's just get to it, people. That's my 2 cents.
Yes, ma'am.
The part I struggle with is just the example in heated discussions. As with any meeting,
Mhm.
there will be heated discussions. So if part of the context is that a heated discussion could lead to a decision about a code of conduct violation, I'm struggling with and that's why I called it out. It's one thing to say where this started was sharing of information that shouldn't be shared, the things listed here. But when it was added about heated discussions, sometimes our communications, like that's part of meeting, that's part of healthy dialogue, but it is implied by this vote or this motion that a heated discussion could lead to, and that is not what's written in the code of conduct.
Right.
So I'm just struggling, keep it in context
Mhm.
for us voting, in that laid out here is conflict of interest, sharing proprietary information. Heated discussions should not be part of any decision around violation of code of conduct. Heated discussions are absolutely supposed to happen when we're thought partners on something as big as our city charter. So I just don't like the conversation around we can't have heated discussions. It should have been written it should have been written as a bullet here if heated discussions are not allowed. And then who determines the depths of what heated means?
Going
Okay.
back to your point, it does, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It doesn't, and that's why I wanted to just call it out, because it doesn't say it. So if that is the point or the hang up for anyone, I just wanted to make it clear, just quickly reviewing it. It does not say that.
Right. And it's not, right? Which is why when I started off the conversation, I said, first of all, we should understand that our meetings are governed by Robert's Rules of Order. As you know, in Robert's Rules of Order, if discussions get heated, the chair can call a halt to the discussions, allow time for people to calm down. If we need to table the item, we do so. That's why I mentioned that. That was the only context around heated discussions. As an example, it's not part of this. Now, if someone, and I don't know what it could be, but if someone on a commission did something or said something that was so egregious that the rest of us felt that we couldn't no longer continue to work with that person, then don't ask me for examples. I don't have them. I'm just saying in general. Yes.
I just want to call. One, I'm saying that when we're governed by Robert's Rules of Order, I don't think that's in there. And
No, it's just
and actually,
normal meetings.
we're gonna get you of the lawyers.
Yes.
And I were, so I'm not as involved,
Mhm.
I feel that that's better, but, it doesn't say Robert's rules of order.
Sure doesn't.
And Robert's rules of order are not recommended for boards like this,
Exactly,
because it's too restrictive.
exactly.
Okay.
Trust me. It's not recommended for council, it's not recommended for government bodies, because it's too restricted to the conversation.
So
Also-
city council doesn't run by Robert's rules?
I mean.
Well, exactly. And we're running loosely. It's not like.
I got you. You get my, because I don't want to believe.
Right. No, that's fine.
To a little point.
I'm saying,
All right, heated discussions are
Mike?
very subjective. We need to stay away from that language. And then thirdly, I would agree with the sentiment that this board does not have the power to move board members that are
Right.
appointed by others.
and like I said, and it's not in there. All right.
I've had my hand up a while. I'd like to speak because
All
if I
right, go,
could,
Mike, go.
thank you so much. So I think everything has been discussed completely. I understand the concerns and maybe things are a little bit gray, but I don't believe that anyone in particular has any power over the group, and the group does not have the ability to kick anybody off. So we've come this far. I think we continue to go. Obviously, 13 out of 15 people have already signed the code of conduct to just, there is a motion on the floor, and I thought there was a second, but if there's not, there should be. And I
Nope,
think
there
the
was.
conversation
That
should,
discussion.
Yes, we're just at discussion.
excuse me, I did not interrupt when you spoke, and I'd like you not to interrupt when I speak.
You have to talk
So-
to them.
Okay.
And so
Everyone-
here's,
Mike, go ahead.
yeah. So I would just suggest that the vote be put to the group to accept or reject it, and then we move on from there. And I just have one more question. I'm curious, who has not signed the code of conduct?
Is that important?
Not important at the time, if you don't mind.
I called for
Yes.
the question.
Wait,
Question has been called for.
what does that mean?
That means no more discussion.
I have one more question. Because
That-
what,
That means no more discussion.
well, she called for, it, but that doesn't mean
No, it does.
we are not.
All right, we're gonna go loose. Go ahead, Mary.
One more question,
One more
and
question.
I sat and I waited.
Yes, thank you, Mary.
The other thing that I was concerned about here is I know of an awful lot of people in the city government and in the city that some of them are my clients. We see routinely, I see on Facebook, et cetera, lots of allegations made. And I just want us to be cautioned that many people speak to many people. And I have never violated this code of conduct, but it is possible that someone could say, oh, I saw her talking to so-and-so. I represent a number of folks here in real estate transactions. So yes, I do talk to them, and I talk to them intimately about, it's nothing to do with this. So I want us to be aware that that is a trend in our community, these unfounded accusations, and we need to be careful not to fall into them.
Question has been called for. So all in favor of the motion, vote aye. Just raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. All opposed, vote nay. Okay, so we have 8 affirmative, 3 negative. Motion passes.
Did you count Rose? Because she rose to the hand, but a negative.
Yes.
Okay. Did you?
You fell asleep during the discussion.
That's okay. It's like.
All right.
Yes,
Abstentions don't count.
right. No. Great. All right, next topic.
Okay, next topic. That is, did we go out of order with the outreach plan? I think we
Yeah,
did.
we
That
have
happened when I was in the room. Okay, so we, number 5 is, any new business?
We are going to Neighbors That Care tomorrow night? No. At 7? She sent out an email saying we were.
I spoke to her and told her that we were gonna, she was really busy, so I didn't get a chance to actually speak to her. But because we have these forums coming up, I think it's a better opportunity for them to actually talk, because again, in those things, I don't there's not a back and forth. There's just, this is what a charter is, this is what it does. But she was very busy today. So I did tell her that I needed to cancel tomorrow.
Right, I will send another email that you are not. Because she just,
She just did that? We're talking about Ronnie?
Yeah.
And I don't know why she just did that. Okay, sorry.
maybe it came earlier today, this one, I saw it come. So I'll just double check.
If there is no other new business, moving on to 6, old business. I think we kind of discussed that in took dead horse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If there is no other old business, we can move to adjournment.
Adjourned, meeting is adjourned.
Second.
That's what I'm saying.